Okay, hello everyone. Again, thank you for joining our webinar about Murrieta and the opportunities in healthcare services and biotechnology innovation. My name is Naveen Zait, and I am the Business Development Program Manager at the City of Murrieta. It's an honor to welcome you to SelectUSA's virtual tour of Murrieta, where we focus on opportunities in healthcare and life science sectors right here in our city. This event would have not been successful without the support of the Department of Commerce and their SelectUSA program, and the speakers that we have from the City of Murrieta, Impact Southwest Riverside County, and Murrieta Genomics, as well as Gadigal. We have a great program for you today, and we have invited great speakers who are excited to share their success stories and the opportunities that are available for you for investment and startups as well. We encourage you to ask questions throughout the webinar in the chat box, and we will be more than happy to answer those questions in the Q&A session at the end of the webinar. With this, if you allow me to introduce our Mayor Jonathan Ingram. He would like to present the welcome remarks for this webinar.
Good morning, everyone. I hope everybody's starting off their day blessed. I'm Jonathan Ingram. I'm the mayor for the City of Murrieta. We're about 60 miles north of San Diego in California. We have a beautiful, beautiful blue sky this morning, and I'm happy to have you here. I'd like to welcome you to the SelectUSA presentation of our city. We're so happy to see so many of you join us this morning. We hope that we make this an informative and a valuable time for you, for your time. It's important to us. During this presentation, we hope to display to you why Murrieta is such a great place to invest and showcase your businesses. We're a business-friendly environment. We have a strong workforce. We are pro-business, and we look forward to working with you and helping you thrive. Beside being pro-growth, we are innovators in this industry, and we've been working hard over the last decade to make this happen. So this is very exciting to see this happen today. And I look forward to it, and I look forward to your companies being built here and being successful. And on that note, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Agajanian. Scott.
Thank you very much, Mayor, and everyone. Good morning. It's so good to have you here. Before I jump in and go off on my run, I want to hand it back to Naveen really quick, because I think we have one more introduction to do, Naveen.
Yes. Thank you, Scott. I would also like to introduce Mr. Burwell. We are really appreciative of the efforts of SelectUSA program and the support that they have provided us throughout our journey to get investors and entrepreneurs into our city. So we would love to hear some words from you, Mr. Burwell.
Thank you, Naveen, and thank you, Mayor Ingram. And I'm very pleased to be here with you today as part of SelectUSA's virtual tour of Murrieta, California, focused on the healthcare and lifestyle sectors. This event is part of the SelectUSA virtual tour series and organized in collaboration with the City of Murrieta. As mentioned, my name is Bill Burwell. I'm the Acting Executive Director of SelectUSA. And for those who don't know, SelectUSA is a government-wide program dedicated to facilitating and promoting high growth impact, foreign direct investment impact for the United States. Since inception, SelectUSA has assisted thousands of clients, including EDOs and international companies, facilitating more than $105 billion of client-verified investments into the United States and supporting 138,000 jobs across the United States, all states and territories. The US is the #1 destination for business investment, with the largest consumer market on earth, with a GDP of over $20 trillion and 325 million consumers. It's wonderful. Household spending is the highest in the world, accounting for more than a quarter of global household consumption. And at the same time, free trade agreements with over 20 other countries provide an enhanced platform for export opportunities from the US. In fact, in 2021, the A.T. Kearney FDI Index once again ranked the United States as the #1 investment destination for CEOs and some of the world's largest companies. This is the 9th consecutive year of the #1 status. And FDI makes a difference across all of our local communities in the US. In the state of California, for example, according to the latest annual data, 843,000 US jobs were directly supported by majority foreign-owned firms. That is a lot of jobs and a lot of folks enjoying a nice high standard of living. Hopefully all the companies in the audience are familiar with SelectUSA and what we can do to support your intentions to invest in the United States. For those who are less familiar, we're here to help you find your next investment destination. SelectUSA works one-on-one with companies, and our team has a proven track record of success connecting international firms and partners and resources to help them achieve their investment goals in the United States. Our services include information and counseling, FDI facilitation events, and assistance navigating the federal regulatory system. SelectUSA works closely with economic development organizations at the state, local, regional, and tribal level throughout the US. And this virtual tour is one great example of how that works. I'd like to strongly encourage all the international companies today to take full advantage and register for the upcoming 2022 SelectUSA Investment Summit, which is scheduled to take place June 26 through 29 at the Gaylord National Resort and Convention Center in metropolitan Washington, D.C. This is our annual event for SelectUSA, and it gathers all the economic development teams from across the United States in one place. We are back to an in-person session this year, and we'll be featuring over 150 conference sessions and exhibition hall with all the EDOs and service providers from around the country, and a month of access to the networking platform to support virtual and in-person networking meetings. The Investment Summit will continue to offer its widely successful SelectUSA Tech program that connects early stage and startup technology companies and prospects for advancement in the United States market. And I'm pleased to share with you today on this International Women's Day that the SelectUSA Global Women in Tech program is accepting applications for mentors and mentees. This program is a mentorship network that connects international female tech entrepreneurs to the US market with the support of SelectUSA's traditional data and counseling services, as well as new training opportunities. So international female executives are matched with US mentors to help advance and refine their business strategy for the US market. Interested people on the call today should apply to attend the 2022 Investment Summit and indicate their desire to participate in the mentorship network during the application process. To learn more about the Investment Summit, please visit our website at selectusasummit.us, or you can email us at SUSAEvents, that's SUSAEVENTS @trade.gov. Our team at SelectUSA and our colleagues at the US Commercial Service in California are here to assist your company and help you find the investment location that's right for you. Hopefully it is the City of Murrieta, and I look forward to hearing all about the details and opportunities that exist. And thanks again for giving me a few minutes this morning to kick this off. Thank you so much, Naveen.
Thank you, Mr. Burr. We're really excited to partner with SelectUSA for this opportunity, and we're looking forward to connecting with the investors and entrepreneurs who are interested in our city. With this, I would like to hand it to Scott to talk about our city and the amazing opportunities that are available for you. So I'll share the screen.
Why, thank you, Naveen, and thank you everybody for being here today. We really appreciate you joining us, as Bill said, on International Women's Day, and it's our first ever SelectUSA event. So we really thank you for taking the time to come and hear about the City of Murrieta. I also want to thank the Mayor, Jonathan Ingram, for providing the welcome address. We've got a great panel of speakers today, as Naveen said, and I just want to give a quick shout out to each of them before we get running. Patrick Hamilton Ellis is the President and CEO of Impact Southwest Riverside County, which is an economic development organization that runs and operates our city-owned incubator, the Murrieta Innovation Center. And so he's going to have a lot of insight as to what we do in the field of startups and the work that he's doing to help promote startup growth here. Jay Goff is the founder of Murrieta Genomics, and that's the first genetic laboratory in Riverside County, which is a county of 2.5 million people. And not only are they a genomics lab, but they're also a very unique genetic incubator where they help companies in the bioscience field provide their proof of concept and get funding and commercialize so they can spin out into the global business atmosphere. And they've done a fantastic job. They've even spun out their own company called SimpleSeq, which I'm sure you'll hear about from Jay. And then finally, we've got Michael McNeely, who's the president CEO of Gattaco, which is another anchor tenant in the Innovation Center and a true success story in our region. They've shown a wonderful story of how you can grow and scale a med tech company in this valley. And so I think it's going to be an exciting conversation for all of them, showing how you can get started and grow here. And with that, we can move on to the next slide, which is just a little bit about where we are. The city of Murrieta is perfectly located. So we are the largest and most orange city in Southwest Riverside County. You can see us right on the center of the screen there. Right centrally located to all of the major markets. As our mayor said, we're about 60 miles from San Diego. We're less than 80 miles from all the major markets of Los Angeles, Orange County, and San Diego County, giving us proximity to over 21 million people. And also, especially, we sit at the confluence of two major freeways, Interstates 15 and 215, which just gives us a really great accessibility to the Southern California market. So overall, this is a pivotal location, and I think it makes us special for many reasons. And there's a lot of businesses in this valley that have chosen to locate here just because of the accessibility piece, of their ability to meet all the major markets. And those that need to tie into multiple ones find it very, very convenient to be here in the city of Murrieta. Jumping on to our next slide, please. Just an overview of what Murrieta looks like. So we've got excellent demographics. I always say that Murrieta is the best marriage of two major counties, San Diego and Riverside. We have all of the labor force and affordability of Riverside County, but we've got the higher education rates of San Diego County. So when you look at the city of Murrieta, we are the largest city in Southwest Riverside County, population of just over 118,000, with a workforce of just over 60,000. And they're highly educated. Close to 70% of our residents have at least some college under their belt, and a large percentage of them have advanced degrees. We're also primarily a family city, so a young median age and a strong workforce here. I see that Bruce Coleman, my predecessor, is here, just popped up on the chat screen. I want to give a shout out to Bruce Coleman. Good to see you, Bruce. Hope to hear from you in this Q&A here coming up soon. So we've got really great demographics, and with that, we'll jump over to a quick few little facts about Murrieta. I mentioned it was a family city, and so why do families love it here? Well, they love it here because we're always ranked as one of the top 10 safest cities in the United States. So the city of Murrieta is consistently in the top 10. And in terms of violent crime, we're one of the top 4 safest cities. In fact, a couple of years ago, we were number 1. We've never ranked over number 4. We're always 1 or 2 usually. Close to 70%, like I said, of our college degree, of our residents have some education or higher education. So what you get here is a community of people who move here to raise their families. They want to stay embedded here. So when you're looking to bring a company, you're going to find a workforce that is really anchored and grounded here, that want to work here. And that's one of the biggest challenges we have as a city, is trying to find the right kind of job base for all these educated workforce. And that's why we've really focused on healthcare. We've really made it our goal to become the medical engine of Southwest Riverside County, which does a couple of things. It provides healthcare resources to all of the region, but it also provides these great job opportunities so that our workforce can stay here at home. And with that, we can jump on to the next slide, please. And so why is it a good idea to invest in Murrieta? Well, there are so many great reasons. We're clean, safe, we're a new city. We're only 30 years old, just had our 30th anniversary. And we also have a successful history of foreign direct investment with over $80 million in projects in the last 10 years. But we also have a very strong history of intellectual property investments. So venture capital, angel funding, grant funding has all been happening in our valley. And so this gives you the perfect blend of opportunity to invest both in real property and in intellectual property. So we've got great opportunities here in our growing healthcare industry, which is really blossoming into a full service health and life sciences business sector. And that will jump on to our next slide, please. And I just want to give some examples of the growth going on in our community. And this is just a little microcosm of what's happening here across the board, because there's many, many projects going on in our city. But these are expanding healthcare projects from our major anchor tenants in the city right at this time. Loma Linda University Medical Center is running at 200% capacity. They recently expanded their hospital bed count. Rady Children's Health Services recognized the need to expand their programs, including a new pediatric behavioral health program. Rancho Springs Medical Center is adding a 36,000 square foot wing to their hospital. And excitingly, Kaiser Permanente is adding a new ambulatory surgery center, which is going up right at this minute. But they're also getting ready for phase 3, which is a full hospital, 7-story hospital with a parking structure, and that will be their next phase. So all of these healthcare service providers are expanding because of the unprecedented demand in our growing region. And the really cool part is they're also great partners to our startups in the region. One of the things we really pride ourselves on is an alignment of the large and small businesses here. And that's what makes Murrieta such a vibrant community to be in, especially on the healthcare side. And with that, we will jump on to the next slide. And just want to talk a little bit about why this right now is a great time to invest in the city of Murrieta. The slides will catch us up to us in a second, but right now is a very important time in the city of Murrieta because the demand is so great. We just concluded a study that showed an immediate demand for 182,000 square feet of biomedical space with an additional 400,000 more square feet over the next 10 years. Also a demand for 1.1 million square feet of office space, professional office space in the next 10 years. So all of this is just spurred by the growth that we're seeing in the healthcare regions, but also in the biotech regions, which is really a byproduct of the Murrieta Innovation Center and the work that Patrick Nathaniel Ellis is doing in that center. So in just a second, we're going to hand it over to him. But before we do that, we have a brief video to show you on healthcare in the city of Murrieta.
Murrieta is one of the fastest growing regions in California and is becoming a super regional hub for healthcare services and life science innovation. The city of Murrieta established healthcare as a major focus in economic development over a decade ago, and the result has been decisive. Murrieta is the medical engine of Southwest Riverside County.
So the city created the Murrieta Innovation Center in order to provide a home for startups that didn't have a space to grow and develop in. So the purpose of the Innovation Center is to create a life sciences hub where startups can get together, work and share ideas, and grow to build their business into something that can spin out into the community. The real plan of the Innovation Center is to take that innovation that's here in our valley and all the talent that's here and give them a home or a hub to start their business.
Home to major medical centers such as Kaiser Permanente and Loma Linda University Medical Center, Rancho Springs, and Rady's Children Health Services, Murrieta continues to grow its healthcare landscape with several development and expansion projects on the horizon.
What's unique about the Murrieta Innovation Center, as far as I know, we are the only biotech, health tech incubator within Riverside County. That makes us extremely unique, and I think also positions us very well to help those types of businesses grow and sustain the ecosystem that we're working on here.
With the addition of a wet lab, the center will have everything life science innovators need to kick off their startups.
We selected Murrieta Genomics as the home for our startup for a couple of different reasons. One, because it's centrally located between Los Angeles and San Diego, which allows us to draw on both talent pools from both Los Angeles and from San Diego. Two, because we also have the opportunity to have a lot of people that commute back and forth to both of those locations. So we really have a highly educated community that lives here that actually works in the biotech and biomedical space that is already existing as a talent pool to draw from for employment.
Investors might not know that this is the perfect place to invest, and it's because a lot of our businesses are untapped. There are startups out here that haven't been seen by all of the Silicon Valley investors. And so they're really your first stop to look for new investment opportunities. If you're looking for deal flow, the Murrieta Innovation Center is filled with life science companies that have not been heavily invested in, that are ready for venture capital. Some of them have already received some, but you can get in an early seed round and really find an opportunity that you wouldn't have found otherwise. The Murrieta Innovation Center is the home to innovation in our valley, and it is the most successful incubator in Riverside County.
Now is the time to invest in healthcare and life science innovation. Now is the time to invest in Murrieta.
And thank you for that. And with that, we're going to hand it over to Patrick Bruno Ellis, but we don't talk about Bruno. Patrick, take it away.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate that. Good morning, everyone. It is my pleasure to be here with you all this morning. I just wanted to touch on a few things as Scott had mentioned. Impact Southwest Riverside County, our 501c3, manages the Innovation Center on behalf of the city to do the day-to-day operations. A couple of things that you should know is the Innovation Center is a city-owned building. It's actually the former City Hall. So it it's a work in progress, as we all know, but what it does is offers opportunities to startups that may not be available anywhere else. One of the unique things is the city is able to provide space within the Innovation Center for $1 a year for startup companies, which is a huge asset for them because it creates or it removes stress from them as they begin that startup aspect of their business. But what we also do then is work on the collaboration and bringing in the different assets that are needed to build that business for them. So we have opportunities and associations with organizations such as SBDC. We have a local CDFI that helps with access to capital and resources. And then we work with other organizations very closely to provide the talent, the access to information as well as resources such as Biocom and Resi, which are very valuable, especially with these types of companies. The Innovation Center houses 8 different biotech and medtech businesses. It has 2 veteran resource organizations that work within it. I think we'll have a slide in a minute that shows you the tenants that are within there you go, giving you an idea. So you have Murrieta Genomics, Simple Seek, Gatico, TX Genetics, Swelter, Neuroblast, Trio Pharmaceuticals, and Nomogen. And then, as I said, the 2 veteran resource organizations that are based within that. The very cool thing is in honor of International Women's Day is just over 60% of our incubate companies are women-led businesses. And so that's another asset that we really want to keep fostering within our incubator. As Scott had mentioned, and you'd heard, we do have an extremely highly educated workforce here in Southwest Riverside County, and our proximity to neighboring San Diego County and Orange County gives us a lot of that, because one of the things that we have is a large commuter population. A lot of the individuals that are working that live in our area but work are commuting to San Diego and Orange County on a regular basis. Our goal with growing this ecosystem is to help reverse that commute. We know so many of the individuals that work in this industry but commute so far, and I believe you'll probably hear a little bit about how that actually works to our advantage from a couple of our incubating companies coming up here in just a second. And then the exciting thing is that right now we're in our final stage of actually receiving an EDA grant. We've been working for the last couple of years to secure enough funding to build out a wet lab, a clean room, and a dry room for our incubator. We're in the final stages of that. We were hoping to have the final as of this morning to let you all know that for sure, but we're just in the final stages. We've passed through all the legal requirements and we're just about there. So looking forward to that funding, but we're also still looking at other resources. We've been working with the county to access some of the ARPA funds and other opportunities to grow, not just the building itself, but also the resources within it to make sure that we create a successful ecosystem for these businesses, not just to start up, but to grow and then be able to flourish within our community. That's what I have as far as the Innovation Center. We're excited with that. But it is now my honor to actually hand it over to Jay Goth with Murrieta Genomics, who's been really the brainchild behind the Innovation Center from the get-go. And it's exciting to work with him on a daily basis. So Jay, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Patrick. Good morning, everybody, and thanks for joining us. Murrieta Genomics is a next generation sequencing laboratory. We built out a full lab that does next generation sequencing of DNA and RNA. And that is really critical to the future of not only the United States, but the globe. We're fueling precision medicine, precision agriculture. We're leading advances in forensics. COVID has obviously put a big spotlight on the entire genomic revolution, how we can sequence genes, find antidotes, find vaccines very quickly. And what Murrieta Genomics does is when we built out our lab, we said, we don't want to just be a service lab. We want to really foster genomic startups. So we became the second genomic incubator in the entire country. The only other one is operated by Illumina, which is a large multi-billion-dollar company. We're not Illumina, we're a startup. But what we've been able to do is build a lab and help entrepreneurs who have genomic sequencing ideas or concepts that they need to validate. What we want to do is keep them from going out, raising a couple $1 million, building a lab, hiring technicians, and getting all the way to the point where they realize that maybe they don't have what they think they have. Now they need to do more research. They need to go raise more money. They haven't met their initial milestones. We think that that's kind of a false path to follow. What we want to do is offer them a place where we can help them validate their science, validate their business model, get in front of subject matter experts, and really put together a fully baked idea and concept that's both scientifically and business validated before they go talk to investors. So our whole key is we don't charge any fees except for the hard costs of doing the sequencing work. We provide the resources, we do the sequencing for them, we do all the stuff necessary for them to develop a good, strong data set that will validate their science. At the same time, we have business professionals in our organization that can help them actually validate the business model. Is there a customer? Is there a margin? Can we scale? You know, what does this look like? So we work with them on the business and the science side to validate their idea. Then when we get that done, we take them to our advisory board. We have subject matter experts in everything from accounting to legal, human resources. We have headhunters. And then we have, of course, the genomic experts that can look at it and say, yeah, this will work or this won't work. And we have doctors on board. I mean, we have just a plethora of subject matter expertise that we can apply to these companies. At the point where they've looked through the whole thing and we really put together a dynamic organization, then we need sometimes to recruit in executives and board members to really make it a fundable company. And we do that by working with our advisory board, with our networks that we're constantly establishing, to really bring together a wholly painted picture that we can show to an investor that would lead to development. So right now we have 4 companies in the incubator. 2 of them are homegrown. One is SimpleSeq, that has figured out a new way to isolate and purify DNA and RNA from biological samples without destroying the sample itself, which is very cool, something nobody's been able to do before. We take a different approach. And then we have another company, Parthen, that is really brand new. And what we want to do is democratize genomically guided precision medicine to the entire world. Right now, only a very few people can afford to have genomically guided second opinions on their cancer. What we want to do is make it available to everyone. So that's a big, that's one of those moonshot deals that we want to push. Then we have one company, Epigenetics RX, that is already generating revenue using genomics to guide nutritional and supplement choices. And we have another one, TX Genetic Research, which is a husband and wife team that overcame some debilitating health circumstances by doing their own research, and they wanted to apply that research to building a company to help others, and that's ongoing. So all in all, Murrieta Genomics is doing a lot to further the science of genomics, and we want to build businesses here in the Southwest Riverside region and add to the collective economy. And with that said, I'm going to turn you over to Michael McNeely with Gatico, and I think you'll be pretty amazed at some of the technology that they're developing. Michael?
Thanks very much, Jay. So Gatico has developed a technology that simplifies sample processing for diagnostic testing. If we're all familiar with the process of going to a blood collection center such as LabCorp or Quest and having one or multiple tubes of blood drawn from a vein in our arm. Those tubes are actually centrifuge tubes, and that's because the vast majority of blood tests cannot work with whole blood directly, but require the blood to be spun in a centrifuge to get plasma. And plasma is really the fundamental clinical quality sample that's used. And what Gatico has done is we've developed a small disposable plastic centrifuge replacement tool that can be used for home sample collection or for rapid diagnostic testing. The reason it's important is because as the markets and needs grow, as was accelerated by the pandemic for applications such as telemedicine or home sample collection, the quality of the sample is extremely important in being able to get accurate results, lab quality results. And so in order to improve the quality and ensure the preservation of important clinical diagnostic markers, blood must be separated immediately from the plasma must be separated immediately from the cells. Otherwise, the quality of the sample deteriorates and you may get inaccurate results. So what Gattaco has done is enabled a whole new generation of home sample collection so that you can get accurate lab quality results. And in addition, being able to integrate our technology to a complete diagnostic product. So as the pandemic has gone over the last couple of years, we've seen new diagnostic products being developed, including home tests that can do lab quality results that involve technologies such as PCR or isothermal amplification, similar to the types of products and technologies that Jay Goff was just discussing at Murrieta Genomics, but they're available in a home use product. Well, unfortunately, those products cannot yet work with whole blood for the detection of bloodborne diseases or pathogens because of the complexity of processing blood at home. The Gattaco's technology enables that. So we're going to be able to see a tremendous growth and acceleration of home diagnostics. Gattaco's technology will support the telemedicine market as well as the growth in direct-to-consumer testing and decentralized clinical trials. We have a very large plethora of patents and IP protecting our technology. And we're currently expanding in order to address the needs and interests. And we are in the process of working with a major worldwide diagnostics company for worldwide distribution of our products. And so we're very excited about our opportunities, our growth. We have benefited greatly. I think we'll be able to discuss this a little bit more later, but we've benefited greatly from the generosity and facilities of the Murrieta Innovation Center, as well as directly working with Murrieta Genomics in their facility. This has all been very beneficial to Gattaco, and we are really excited about both our growth and our opportunity, as well as being involved with the Murrieta Innovation Center and supporting them in their activities. So I think that's my presentation, and we're moving on to a panel discussion now.
Thank you very much, Michael. And I have never seen such a timely presentation. I think we plan to end at 8:40. It's 8:39, so we're on top of it here today. And with that, we're going to jump into the panel talk. So all of you get ready because questions could come from anywhere. And just a reminder to anyone in the participants in the Zoom webinar here today, if you would please add any questions you have for this group into the chat. We will be addressing them. Naveen will be handling a Q&A session right after the panel. So please throw any questions you have in there, and we will make sure that we get to them and make them tough, especially if you pick questions that are tough for Patrick. We appreciate it. There's a bonus for you at the end of the presentation. So first of all, I'd like to start with a question I think that is a little bit more geared towards Jay and Michael. Can you explain why you chose Murrieta to be the home for your startup?
I'll go ahead and take it first. Well, there's a very simple reason, Scott. We live here. So we are homegrown. But it's interesting because when I started Murrieta Genomics with Brandon and John, I was actually running a fund for biotechnology companies. And during my travels, I met with John, and he happened to know somebody running a lab down in San Diego. And the guy told me, you know, the costs are killing me. We're thinking about moving. And he happened to live in the Murrieta area. And I said, well, how would you like to move up to a new facility that's being built? Well, not new, but a facility that's being built, and move the lab up there. And that's how Murrieta Genomics was really born, is just the confluence of events. But we really like being in the middle of 23, 24 million people. I mean, when you start thinking about doing research and doing genomic testing on people, what better diversity of people and groups can you get than this general Southern California area? It's just tremendous. And then, of course, you've got the labor force. All the people who are driving to San Diego shouldn't have to drive to San Diego every day. That's 3 or 4 hours out of your life at rush hour because it takes so long to get there with all the traffic from people driving down there. So why not stay here and work in Murrieta and spend your evenings at home with your kids instead of somewhere else? We've been able to attract great talent. We've been hiring lately, and we've been able to attract great talent simply because of the location of where we're at.
Perfect. And Michael, I think you've also attracted some really great talent recently. Maybe you can dovetail into that.
Yeah, so Gattaco actually existed in another incubator in another city prior to coming to Murrieta. And while that city also fostered new technologies, new companies, and tried to encourage them, there is a major difference between what they had to offer and what Murrieta has to offer. And it's been mentioned several times, and I just like to emphasize the fact that the workforce here matches our needs, whereas in that other location, that wasn't the case. And in our particular space, just because of the dynamic of the industry, that's the life science industry, people don't want to move outside of a hub because in case they need to change jobs, they'd be moving multiple times throughout their career, which most people don't want. And that was the challenge with the other vicinity where Gattaco was located. Whereas here we have access to a great number of highly skilled individuals. We have people, the majority actually of our full-time staff live directly in the vicinity or within just a few miles of the Murrieta Innovation Center. And then others do come up from San Diego. It's kind of the reverse trend of traffic. So their traffic is really not a problem. So it's a very favorable location, both for costs, economics, housing, travel, traffic, as well as simply the access to the talent pool that is so critical for our industry.
And Scott, if I could just mention one other thing.
Certainly.
Very quickly. One of the other things that we have going for us here is our proximity to the University of California, Riverside. And the fact that we have such a great academic institution there, and then we're surrounded by a number of other academic institutions that are all contributing to this ecosystem that we're building right now on innovation. We have Cal Baptist, we have, Mount San Jacinto College. And there's just a number of reasons that we can attract new people coming out of these universities to stay here and continue their research in our life sciences hub.
It's a point well taken, and Cal State San Marcos as well. And I see somebody on the chat was actually an educator here in Murrieta, so thank you for that. And with that, let's jump on to a question for Patrick Herman-Ellis. So if you were talking to an investor, an entrepreneur looking for opportunities in California, what would you say to them, Patrick?
Well, I mean, you get to come and work with Scott and I. So, I mean, who wouldn't want to do that?
Don't scare them away. We try to recruit them here.
Yeah.
Hey, don't forget about me, Patrick. I'm not chopped liver over
I mean,
here.
It all starts with Jonathan, really.
Yeah.
Jonathan and I get to take everyone who's interested in Murrieta to lunch prior to
Absolutely.
you actually coming here. So one of the unique aspects that, and I think you kind of could get a sense of that based on the discussion we've been having this morning is our little valley here, Murrieta Valley, is a very unique place, especially within the state of California. I've seen a couple things in the chat and some questions, around how, maybe it was questionable to look at moving business or putting a new business in California. But the unique thing that we have going on down here is we're very business friendly. We're very startup friendly. In the partnerships that have been built, these public-private partnerships, create this opportunity for us to be very flexible, to be very open and to new ideas and to pushing the envelope to an extent. And we're willing to try new things. If you come and see the Innovation Center, you'll see a building that's in progress, but we're willing to, try and do anything. And that's why, Scott and I kind of got together and decided to do this grant. you're talking to two guys who know very little about science, but we know a lot about business, and we know how to figure out how to push it and try to do as much as possible. Our goal is really and we're passionate about is trying to set businesses up for success from day one. So that would be, my main reason as to why someone should consider bringing their business to California, especially down to Murrieta.
Talk about our medical corridor a little in our general plan so that they get an idea of the scope of what we've prepared for the future of Murrieta, would you?
I'll jump in. So I'm now a part of the panel, everybody. And what I will say to that is that the city of Murrieta about a dozen years ago took the proactive step to realize that there was an opportunity in this valley. This is a valley of about 600,000 people right now. But long before that, we recognized that this was a growing region. We are still one of the fastest growing regions in the state of California. This is where all of the people from San Diego and Los Angeles and Orange counties are moving out to now, because we're still relatively affordable compared to those markets. And we realized that healthcare was going to be needed here. And we also realized that because we were really garnering residents from San Diego that had a higher level of education and income, that healthcare would serve a dual purpose for an economic development standpoint, which is it would create those high paying jobs. So we zoned a lot of land in this region really for biotech space and healthcare services. And what we found from that was that we were able to land major anchors in this region. Like we talked about before, the Kaisers, the Loma Lindas, the Rady's are all here in the Rancho Springs. In addition, we've got a major medical office center that's going up right now. Every single one that we bring into the city is filling up immediately. There's new healthcare facilities opening constantly. We recently received an application for a new biotech campus, which is really just meant to be a springboard from the innovation center and the companies that are growing there that are eventually kind of bursting at the seams in that center. And when they need to move out into the community, we wanted a space for them to locate here in Murrieta, because we don't want the relationship to end as soon as they leave the incubator. We want to be a partner with them for the lifespan of their business, certainly for my lifespan. So the idea to grow healthcare services did not end at simply healthcare services. It kind of sprung into startups and realizing that there's a whole host of medical technology type companies that could fill the donut holes of the region and also be successful here, because as everyone has said, we do have that talented workforce. So I think that has kind of been one of the precursors to getting where we are today, where we really take a focus on growing startups. It all started by realizing that healthcare was going to be a need in this valley. And now I'm gonna spring back into panel host really quick, because we only got a few more minutes for the questions. But I wanted to get this one in, and this is a question for all of you. Can you talk about the incentives that you have for working here in the city of Murrieta? We talked a little bit about the $1 a year rent, but there's a lot of other ways to participate within the city and within the healthcare ecosystem. Can you talk about what different kinds of incentives you see here within the city?
I'll jump in again. So one of the things that I love about working with the city is it's a can-do city. So a lot of cities that I've worked with in the past have found reasons for us not to do something, and Murrieta is always figuring out how we can do something. One of the things that Scott spearheaded was a medical leaders luncheon that we have on a quarterly basis that we're just reviving now that COVID's over. But it's an opportunity for all the healthcare systems to sit down and have lunch with all the entrepreneurs in this area. And we draw entrepreneurs from Los Angeles, Orange County, and San Diego as well, to talk about the future of healthcare and how we can innovate in healthcare. And it's very unusual to see a bunch of healthcare facilities operators sitting together, talking about doing something together. And that's the kind of relationships that have been fostered by the city. So I'd say that is huge for us as entrepreneurs to be able to have access to that.
Thank you, Jay. Appreciate it. Anyone else want to jump in on that point or another point?
Yeah, perhaps I could just mention the Murrieta Innovation Center is really supportive. So we're not particularly involved in the incentives provided by the city, with the exception, or in particular with the Murrieta Innovation Center. And that provides us a kind of a centralized meeting facility. We do have people that live here, but also people that commute from San Diego County. And so having a centralized meeting facility for video calls, video conferencing, and office space and hopefully taking advantage of the new growth and facilities that will be built into the Murrieta Innovation Center over the course of the next year would provide tremendous benefit to us. And we already benefit from access and working together with Murrieta Genomics. So from the perspective of those being incentives from the city, which they are kind of indirectly, we do benefit as a startup here. And that'd be very difficult to find somewhere else.
Thank you for that, Michael. And so everyone, I believe now is the time that I hand it over to Naveen so she can start the Q&A portion, which is really the time to hear your questions from the audience. So Naveen, it's off to you.
Thank you, Scott. Very informative panel discussion. Thank you very much to all of you. We received a couple of questions, and I would like to start with the first one that asks about the capacity of the Murrieta Innovation Center and how many startups it can incubate.
I'll jump on that, and then Patrick will probably have something to say as well if I can. So right now, we have gone through the final review of the grant process that Patrick mentioned, which is building out a wet lab, a dry lab, and a clean room, in addition to upgrading the space to more of a creative office space that you would see in some of the coastal communities. So we're really looking to have a competitive incubator with anywhere in California, but right here in Murrieta. And so at that build out, we forecasted a space for a total of 39 startups, which would be 19 full-time office tenants and 20 co-working tenants or virtual tenants that would be able to utilize the space, utilize the lab space, but maybe don't need a full-time permanent office. So at total build out, we would have 39 spaces in there. Patrick, do you want to talk about today what we currently have for capacity?
Yeah, so I believe right now we're at, I think it's around 12 or 13 for permanent. But we do have that flexibility of, working with virtual type tenants, right? We have shareable space, we have presentation room. So as far as virtual tenants go, somebody who doesn't necessarily need to be in a direct office every single day, but just needs a place where they can meet with, individuals, have, partner meetings, things of that sort. We can schedule those with, different boardrooms or a presentation room, as I said. So there's a lot of opportunity in that realm. And obviously, as we, create these new spaces, that will open up even more opportunities for those types of startups.
Great. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Patrick. Another question we received was about giving specific examples of investment opportunities that are currently available in the city of Murrieta.
Absolutely. So as I mentioned, there's a biotech campus coming in. I know that they've got an investor set, but they're probably seeking more of them. So there's a couple of ways we can go on that. If we're talking about the development opportunities, there are opportunities across the board for investment in the city of Murrieta. You can invest in anything from a healthcare sector down to a hotel or a retail development or industrial space. There is growth going on in the city. The one thing our mayor mentioned is that this is a very pro-growth city. We started as a bedroom community, but we don't want to be a bedroom community forever. We don't want to task our residents with commuting to a larger market like San Diego or Los Angeles, Orange County. And what we're finding is Riverside County is becoming the larger market. So there's no real reason to have to leave. We can amenitize it here and have all the opportunities right here. So the development opportunities are many. And if somebody out there is interested in them, I believe there'll be a final slide that has my contact information. Please reach out to me. I'm happy to talk to you about specific development opportunities here in the city. And then the other side of it is the intellectual property opportunity. And I'll probably jump that off to Jay. I'll punt it to you because you're usually pretty knowledgeable about all the different ways that people can invest in the companies that are in the incubator. And not only that, the ones that are incubating under Murrieta Genomics.
Scott, if I can just make a comment on what you said. I think it's important that the panel and everybody in the room here knows that our facilities are not just for Murrieta. These have become regional throughout Riverside County, San Diego, and Orange County. We have many people that commute to come for these services that are here. And you saw that with Rady's Children's Hospital as well. Absolutely. So we've really, and you might want to touch just a little on some of the incentives that the city does offer with respect to development in those medical corridors, office technical spaces. I think that's an important thing.
As we said, we zoned major regions to try to promote those companies going in, but we also work to fast track medical development process because we understand that there's a sincere need in this valley, and with the growth rate that you're seeing in Southern California, we have to get medical up and running as fast as we can. So it's really twofold. It's working to make sure that we have a hospitable home to medical development, but also making sure that we can get projects online quickly. And that's one of the largest challenges you find in the development world. So yeah, that generally speaking, that's the kind of the overview of the development process. But Jay, is there anything that you can add as far as the deal flow that's happening at the Innovation Center and the opportunities out there to invest in intellectual property?
Sure. Both Gattaco and SimpleSeek have been funded by angel investors so far. We have a couple of companies that have been bootstrapped. All of our companies, being startups, are always interested in talking to investors about money. So I think there is a substantial opportunity in the life science early stage sector. And then as we grow, we're going to see more opportunities unfold in growing companies. So I'd say that the opportunities for people who are interested, especially in life sciences, would be very high here in Murrieta.
Great, thank you. Another question we received was about the free trade zones. Do we have any free trade zones in the city of Murrieta?
So one of the challenges that you find when your incomes are as high and your workforce is as educated as we have, we don't often fall into FTZs. I believe that there is a small section of our city that falls into an opportunity zone, but you're really carving out the map there. Generally speaking, and I think the mayor was hitting on this, we try to incentivize the coming into the city through every means that we possibly can, but it's not usually going to be through the federal programs, because those really look for low income census tracts, and that is not Murrieta. Murrieta is high income and high ability, so that doesn't exactly translate.
Great, thank you, Scott. Another question we received is there a process where you present your idea for testing in a safe manner? After all, it's just an idea. So I think they're just asking about the whole process of getting an idea into an actual product. So would love to get some feedback from all of you on this.
We have one company in the Innovation Center called Neuroblast that we haven't really mentioned yet, but they're doing some very cool stuff in that area. They're developing organoids, which are like organs on a chip, so that people can actually do clinical testing in a human environment without subjecting a human being to toxicity and complications. And I think that's going to be part of the future. But we all have beta programs that we're running. We run them alongside academic institutions or other research organizations. And that's all part of building out the network that we're building today.
Thank you, Jay. Appreciate it. One more question we received was more of a request where someone was asking if we can have maybe a roundtable discussion to talk about the future of healthcare services and biotechnology innovation in the city of Murrieta. And then I know that we're going to have access to the contact information for people who registered for this webinar. So maybe that's something that we can do as a follow-up, and we can provide more information about who you can contact, and maybe we can arrange something in the future. But if you'd like to add anything to this, please, we can do that.
The answer is yes, absolutely. We love to talk. We're happy to talk with you anytime. If you are heading to the SelectUSA event in DC in June, Patrick, Franklin Ellis, and I will both be out there for that. So we are happy to meet you live and in person. Don't let that scare you. Please come anyways. And but we are open to any contact and communication. The one thing you'll find is that we all love to talk.
Thank you, Scott. And some people ask for contact information. So Scott, if you'd like to add your contact information in the chat box, same for Michael, Jay. And I know that Patrick, you already did that. That would be appreciated. So they have your contact information. They can reach out to you after the webinar. I'm just going through the questions. I think we covered most of them. We will have access to the questions and the chats that were included. So we'll make sure that we cover everything after the webinar if it wasn't answered here. I think with that, We hope that we provided you with more information about the City of Murrieta, the opportunities that are available for entrepreneurs and investors. We would love to connect with you. We would love to hear from you, and we would love to explore opportunities. Scott and Patrick are going to be at the summit this summer, so please reach out to our booth, come to our booth, reach out to us, and let's arrange some time to meet and discuss the future opportunities.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.